Hello, everybody. This is Dr. Rao Kulusu. Um, I'm coming on this meeting I agreed to do on nutrigenomics and nutrigenetics with another club and clubhouse. So I'm waiting for them to start the room. Meanwhile, I started my room on wisdom and other channels. So you hold on, and I'll get the crowd, and we'll talk about it in a minute. Okay. And thanks for joining, and give me a minute to join them.
Hello, Dr. Rao.
Hi. Hi. Thank you.
Blessings, blessings.
Yeah.
Hope you are well. Dr. T. We've got two Dr. T's today.
Hi, Lady Jewel. How are you, Dr. Ro?
Hi. Hi, how are you?
I'm good. I'm eager to discuss today's topic.
Oh, yeah, sure.
So let's share the room out, ladies and gentlemen. Triple J, yes. Now, Triple J is a true, genuine champion in real life as well. He is a heavyweight champion. I can't wait. I used to love watching wrestling, believe it or not, as a child. I grew up with watching the WWF. It's one of my favorite things to watch. So I am excited, and he's got lots of gems to share. So you guys may go. I'm gonna go to close the other room and bring everyone in here because we have another room open before this for a special needs group. So I'll be right back and bring everybody in as well. Please ping people in until we get to ping gel, and please share the room out, and I'll be right back. And Fred, oh, Theon, please come up on stage. Feel free. And all we need is for you to have a few lines in your bio. If you don't have, then we can't bring you up on stage. So I'm grateful you have bio, and you also have a party hat. So welcome to Clubhouse. Be right back.
Hello, everybody. How's everybody doing?
Good. So while I'm gone, please introduce yourselves, and we're going to talk about nutrition today. So please mingle, have fun. Be right back.
All right. Who's going first?
I guess I'll.
Okay, go ahead.
And then in the background, he's 5, and I was just thinking about nutrition, so that's why I just joined on.
Okay. You cut out a little bit, but I think you were saying you have a 5-year-old in the background?
Yes, my 5-year-old just was diagnosed and has autism.
Oh, okay. I totally understand. And so I know that's a big responsibility there added to you, on top of everything else that's happening. So,
Yeah.
I'll go. I was actually I don't know how to meet a lot of people in these spaces, but Lady Jewel knows me from the Breakfast with Champions group. If you hear any rain in my background, please forgive me. There's a storm coming in, and I'm trying to make my way home, but it's all good. But yeah, I got it.
Yes, we can hear you. It's going.
Okay, I got it. So there was I hate when I get phone calls when I'm trying to, when I'm over here trying to, talk and do my thing or whatever on Clubhouse. I forget to turn my silent off. And that's a great thing for you guys to know. Turn your silent off. So silent on whenever you get on Clubhouse rooms, because people call it the craziest times. But yeah, my name is Triple J. As she said, she did all of the wrestling stuff, which I'll get into that later on. But basically, I actually had some health conditions that I had been battling for like 11 years, and it was type 2 diabetes. And what happened with me is I decided one day I woke up and decided to change my life, and I started with what was on my plate as far as food goes. And once I did that for about 6 months and changing my mindset massively also, I had to do that as well. I left a lot of the processed foods alone. I started cooking and eating whole foods, and I started, staying away from a lot of the bad carbs and all the sugars, just the stuff that, was really hurting me with my diabetes. And so I did this, eating healthy proteins, healthy fats, and, just eating basically the ketogenic lifestyle is what they call it. And so I did that for 6 months, and my A1C went down from a 12 to a 6 point, of 5.5, I'm sorry, after 6 months. And so basically, I was able to lower my A1C and lower my blood sugar, and keep those things in check for after those 6 months. And then, I went to the doctor, and they were like, wow, we can't believe that you did that, because you had a history over the years of having A1C of 11, 12, 13, 14, unreadable past 14 at times for 11 years. And here you are now, within 6 months, you were able to lower it like this. And I told him, I said, I was just trying to eat better, trying to change the way that I think about food. And so I did that. And 6 more months later, because I know a lot of people, even my doctor said this when she gave me my results. She said, well, I know you guys stick to these things for a hot second and then you jump back off. But I had to make a lifestyle change. It wasn't just something to lose weight or something to, to get into a pair of skinny jeans. It was just this was something that was trying to see if it could improve my health, and it dramatically did. And after 6 more months, my A1C went from a 5.5 to a 5.2. And so the doctors were like, hey, since you're doing this with your weight and with your, because I also, and my heaviest was 380 and I had got below 300. And so they were like, when you're doing all of this, hey, we're going to take you off of all your medicine because you're doing this with just food. And they did that, and it's been a year later since that date, and I'm still doing great. I'm still diabetes free. I'm still off my medicine, and it's all because of the things that I chose to eat. And so that's my story, and I'm passing the ball to the next person. Did everybody go to sleep up here? What happened?
I am back. Thank you for holding on the fort. What did I miss?
I think I was hearing about the weight achievement. Congratulations! How he improved his weight by diet and his A1C, which is very good. Thank you for sharing.
Wonderful, wonderful. So, Dr. T has just had a very, very informative room, and only I wish that Clubhouse has come through for us with regards to the house. Somehow we couldn't mod anyone, and still no one could see our room, which is really odd because I've seen other houses functioning pretty well, and somehow our house is not functioning properly, and that's really odd. I don't understand it. So I'm going to have to write into Clubhouse and ask them why our room is not working from the house. But in the meantime, we're just going to have to schedule rooms via the club. And so we have to work extra hard to get the attention in, however, because they only notify people via the houses. But our house did not get that facility. We couldn't even mark our own people in the room. It was very odd. It was very odd indeed. And I tried looking for the room. It didn't come up. It didn't come up at all. It didn't come up on the schedule. And when we opened the room, it also didn't come up on the hallway. So it looks like our house has been blocked out completely, which is really weird. So if you can all help me, help this club to file the same complaint about the house, then we can get attention. Because if I've asked them for also, when I share the link of this club, it shows 2-point-something thousand members. We've got almost 5,000 members. When you click on the greenhouse on top, you can see that we have 4.5 thousand members. But when we share the link of the club, it shows as 2-point-something, which is really weird. When our club is being like deliberately minimized, it's so weird. And I've filed a complaint on that many times as well, and I was ignored, like completely ignored. Nobody responded. The situation hasn't changed in months, and I reported many times. So if everyone could help out, maybe that might help, because me asking for help alone doesn't seem to get any attention. So this is one of the first clubs that provided a space and a sanctuary for the autistic community when I first opened it. So that's the reason why we're one of the biggest club for autism right now, because we started first among very few, and so it would be good that we continue to grow together as a community, and I wish more people could join into this movement as part of this family, and not against us, and not competing with each other, because that's not what this club is about. This club genuinely is about offering proper support to others and who are in need in this space. So this is Lady Jules. Welcome to a Global Autism Connection Club. If you're not already a member, please do join in. Today we are going to talk about nutrigenomics and nutrigenetics in food science. And this topic has been inspired by Dr. Rao, who came up with this topic, and he's going to be the main speaker. And then alongside that, we have the blessing of having Triple J, who is a heavyweight champion in True Life, going to share a couple of his gems as well, how he's come this far with nutrition and the right nutrition and the right support, how his journey with food has come around. I think you would really enjoy his share. I've heard him speak many times, and it's really incredible how he's come this far. And also we've got a Dr. T, two Dr. T's, TMM, and we have Dr. Teresa. So I'm gonna call you by Dr. Teresa so it doesn't get confused, because we have two Dr. T's in the house. And then whoever's ready to come up on stage to share and to comment, please feel free. It is an inclusive stage. There is no right or wrong share in this space. All are welcome, and you should know that by now. If you don't, there you have it. It's a free invitation. All are welcome on stage. Thank you so much. This is Lady Jules. I am the mother of 2 children with autism. They are autistic on different ends of the spectrum. So one is high functioning, and the other is struggling moderately with his speech and his understanding in general. And then I have been in the space of non-profit charities supporting children with autism for the past 10 years. And now I am supporting Action on Disability in the UK. On a global sense, hopefully we can convert this particular club into a global charity, offering support for free. That's what this space is for. We're not here to sell anything. We're here to offer free support. So thank you for being here. Please help share the room out. And only by sharing the room, then we can have more people to benefit from what we have to share. Because we have some incredible people in this room today. So please share the room out by clicking on that little button at the bottom of your screen and share it on Clubhouse at least twice. And then we want to ping, ping, ping at least 10 to 20 people into this room and let people know that we are here. So that's how we honor our followers. If you don't ping them in, they might not be able to find this room because we are opening it from the club and not the house. We tried the house. It was not successful. So we're going to stick to the club for the time being. So let's ping, ping, ping. Thank you so much. So this is Lady Jules. I want to invite Dr. Rao to start with your speech. If you would like to share with us a little bit about you, a quick intro, and share with us why you have picked this topic and how you would like, how would it serve this community for autism. The mic is yours, Dr. Rao.
May I add one thing, Lady Jules? Before we go to the next, what I was thinking is if all of us can share the room at the same time and ping all the friends at the same time, 2 or 3 times, and see what happens. Because
yes, 3,
when you ping,
2, 1.
yeah, let's go.
Let's go. Let's share it. Let's do it together. So I'm going to do that now. That's a good suggestion. I'm going to do that now. So I'm going to give a shout out to all the rock stars who are sharing it with us. So I'm going to say, so share it at least twice, and then the third time around, you're going to say why. So, Jams, I'm going to just put Jams on nutrition. Voila. An exclamation mark and more emojis. That's what I'm going to do. So I'm doing that. Let's all do that together.
And when you ping, use the button at the bottom, number 4. There is a person who look like with a head and plus, do that one.
Okay, let's try that. And on the search, you can also put nutrition, or you can just look into all your friends who might be keen about nutrition, who might be keen about health, who might find the value in this topic. Please ping them in. So let's go. Ping, ping, ping. So I'm pinging as we speak. Grandma Sherry is here. Come on up. Thank you for coming. Were you able to find the room easily? Because Grandma Sherry, did you have a hard time finding the room?
I did. I didn't find it till you pinged me. So thank you.
Oh dear. So let's share the room out. We pull to refresh. We have to share the room out in order for us, for people to find us, because nobody's gonna be able to find us. So let's share the room quickly together.
Yeah, I think Clubhouse didn't know the algorithm yet, how the house and the prior is merging. They are, I think, in the array of confusion.
Well, we tried opening a room from the house earlier on, and we had a lot of trouble as well. It's very odd. I think there's an admin situation going on. So we really have to complain to Clubhouse about what's happening to this club. So I want to just send out invites to everyone who is in the audience, because all are welcome to be on stage, so you can have a voice and you can speak up. Hey Lenny, it's been a long time. Welcome, welcome. Blessings, blessings. And Lenny is also a true champion in this space. If you're able to come up when you're available, do feel free. And let's see who else wants to come up. Please feel free. We're not gonna force you to speak, but at least when you're on stage, the sound quality is better, and also you can speak whenever you need to by just unmuting and stating your name. So we're going ping pong style, and starting off with Dr. Raul. So Dr. Raul, are you available yet?
Oh, I have been available, but we are having the room mechanics. That's fine. Hello, everybody. Good afternoon, good evening, good morning, whatever you are. I am an internal medicine doc, had been here for a long time in the United States since 1981. I am also an informatician and a yoga practitioner and ancient wisdom student, I have been interested in nutrition for a long time because food was always made at home, and we were supposed to eat certain things, certain times, and all that. So there was a lot of emphasis, and we didn't pick up that much of diseases because we were not allowed to eat cold or stale food outside, so that went very well for our childhood. Right on, after I came here, I found a lot of diseases related to our civilization, the way we eat, the way we don't move, the way we don't sleep, and all that, right? So I kind of paid particular attention on diabetes and also the heart disease and hypertension. They are all kind of diet is also involved in there. So we were paying much attention to that. And then as a child, we had a question in our household. Are we eating to live, or are we living to eat? I went by the first. We are eating to live, to do something that we want to do in life, something more important now. So just fuel the engine and get it going to reach whatever destination you have in your life. That was my philosophy. My other brother, who was 4 years older than me, he said, no, we are here to eat, enjoy. And so he was a foodie, but he didn't eat much, but whatever he ate, he really enjoyed. So we were kind of having a friendly conversation, but very deep sometimes, But later on, after I came to this country, how I found that food was such a social factor, such a bondage, special foods for even in other places have their own special foods for special occasions, but much more so here, right? So I kind of participated in that too, and there was a lot of them, but I ate a little bit. I never was a big eater anyway. And then I was introduced to this ancient wisdom, where I found they gave a lot of importance to nutrition. And nutrition as medicine also was there. And they had a science of Ayurveda, which is, knowledge of the life, how to extend the life. And they had qualities that we have in our body, bioenergies, and the same in the nutrition too. So they kind of matched. There is a big science, and people who have practiced in the pristine form are not there anymore, but then the science is there if somebody wants to learn it, There are doctors that are trying to learn back and introduce that. But now I'm also a modern physician, so I follow a lot of modern research projects that are going on in the science, And then I knew that nutrigenomics, nutrigenetics is really in its infancy, but it has got a lot of potential. Because over the years, the nutrition was by the nutritionists, and also according to certain pyramids, which they later on proved to be wrong, and we are changing them. So there is an ongoing struggle to learn about nutrition. That is there with all of us, in the field. Doctors in general are not taught about nutrition, and most of the nutritionists or health coaches, they were doing that, but I believed this nutrition is very important based on my background, where I came from. So first of all, let me tell you what all those terms mean. Nutrigenomics and nutrigenetics are like both with nutrition genes, but kind of what is the emphasis? When the interaction is from the nutrition affecting the genes, that is nutrigenomics. When the genes are affecting our inner metabolic process, that is nutrigenetics. So two different branches, but there are a lot of similarities. A lot of work is done, and then there are. I will tell you, one PDF is like 584 pages on this. So there was, but then this is all science. That's all inner process of the metabolites, inner process of the cells and genes. That's kind of bores people. But our emphasis is to understand this is a field that's very important, developing infancy, still for education and research, but there's no harm in taking interest and getting educated about it and wait for the results. I don't want to give any promises that we have products that can be used directly like that. It is evolving, okay? But then what I wanted to add was, if you cannot really reach the results of this yet, we can look up ancient wisdom of those doshas, and that is in practice with a lot of people, where you can find out what kind of body type you are made of and what kind of foods that are compatible with you, and that is something is already there. But probably we'll have more explanation of that as these two branches develop. So that's why I wanted to introduce to my friends what is going on and what is happening. Suppose I'm in the middle of the scientist, I will give you how the nutrigenetics is working, how the nutrigenomics will work in the long run. So I will invite other also to pose questions or tell me their experience with nutrition or these branches in particular. Okay, so I will stop there, Dr. T. Maybe wanting to jump in.
Yes, I love this topic, and the way I see is when my son is in the picture with me. So he was a little bit and he's growing. So I always wonder how the transformation happened. So what he is, he becomes. So the nutrition is a building block of a person's body.
Yeah.
So what we take is the most important we have to be aware of. And I would love to add, when I see food, the question I ask is, this food is going to be part of me. And what is the relationship in terms of quantum consciousness? That intrigues me all the time, because that food is going to be me. So there is a spiritual kind of, in my own insanity or universe, I have this kind of feeling in the quantum field of the nutrition, how I connect with the food, starting from the chewing, the tasting, how the GI system, how it absorbs, how it's gonna be built up in my body. I just feel it. And I love to add this one, another dimension, which is all our energy. Incorporation of energy comes in a different form. When we eat food, it will generate an energy called ATP. And there is another way I like to incorporate in this one into my own concept, which is sound energy or frequency of sound into the nutrition. I think we can expand as we go, step by step. Thank you.
Blessings, blessings indeed. This is Lady Jules. Does anyone have anything to add to Dr. Raul and Dr. T's share? Please feel free. Or do you have a question?
Hi, everyone.
Hi.
I have a question about food. Speaking of food, my son, I don't know if you were in here. I was mentioning that my son has autism. He's 5. And I noticed like certain things that he eats causes him to have aggression, and he already doesn't get enough sleep. Like now he's kind of throwing things in his toy room. So I gave him some, it's called Genexa. It doesn't have melatonin in it because melatonin doesn't work for him. And he did not take a nap today. So he's been up from 12 to the time that it is now. And he kind of does that at night. Like once he goes to sleep, it's not hard for him to go to sleep. But actually staying asleep is his biggest problem. Like he will wake up at 12 o'clock in the morning sometimes and go back to sleep at like 6 or 4. And he has a poor diet, so that's why I kind of tuned in to here to see what I can do for him.
Well, when you say one thing at a time, thank you so much for sharing with us. Is it Theon? When you say he has a poor diet, in your opinion, what does that mean?
He doesn't eat much. He's very picky. He doesn't eat meat. He likes fruit and vegetables and yogurt, but he has to stay away from like dairy that much. I have to kind of monitor it because he's lactose.
So that's wonderful. It sounds like you're off to a good start. And is he doing any form of sports?
No.
So there are a few contributing factors for good sleep. If a child is not sleeping, particularly even in grown-ups, it means there is insufficient melatonin and insufficient exercise or insufficient nutrition. So these 3 factors are most crucial. And of course, there's the environment, whereby his room may have a few elements that is depriving him of sleep. For example, is it warm enough? Is there a draft? Meaning, is the windows even slightly open? Autistic children do not like draft at all. It keeps them awake. So they're very sensitive to any form of draft. So that's something to be aware of. And also try taking him swimming. Even just playing, kicking the water, getting some form of exercise will help him to sleep better at night. And also, if there is some sunshine, let him out and even for a walk in a park or for a walk anywhere. 10 to 20 minutes of sunshine will help the body create melatonin naturally at night. So these are things I hope you are taking down notes. If you're not, the replays are on.
Yes, I am. And I was kind of thinking about that too, because I already had 2 other kids after him. So I wasn't able to go outside as much with him. He loves to swim.
What I used to do is, I'll just bring my laptop and I let the children be at the pool, and I'll be sitting there working and let them play. And there's lifeguards by the pool as well, but I am keeping an eye. I can't be in the water with them because I have to work, but I am keeping an eye, and I just make sure that they have at least 1 hour of playtime in the pool. And that's kind of what I do twice a week in the past before COVID. Now post-COVID, there's been an issue with the lack of exercise. So I bought these bottles of bubbles, and whenever there's sun, I let the children out in the garden and they be playing with their bubbles. So autistic children also need a lot of stimulation with their tongue and breathing exercises. So blowing bubbles, even though it looks like a simple exercise, it actually helps them with articulation and it helps them with their speech therapy. So it is a very good form of speech therapy, blowing bubbles. I see Lenny wants to come up. Please do. Thank you so much. And, oh, Dr. Lou is in the house. Thank you so much for coming in. And Lenny, I am trying to bring you up. It doesn't seem to let me. Are you on stage yet? I'm gonna pull the refresh. Hang on. Oh yeah, you are on stage. Fantastic. Let me mod you up. Hi Lenny, how have you been? Long time no see.
I am wonderful, Lady Jules. Thank you for doing this. From lovely to hear your voice again. Let me do a fairly quick share to touch on a couple of different topics. One, I love this topic. You know, we know that nutrition is important, but I think it's particularly important for those of us on the spectrum, and I am on the spectrum. Thankfully, I'm what used to be classified as Asperger's, so I'm fairly high. I like to think of myself as fairly high functioning, but autism is prevalent in my family, and so the gut connection is so important. I can as most of us know, and I'm not trying to be triggering for anybody, but autism is usually associated with either moderate to fairly severe gastrointestinal issues. I can tell you when it's going to be a cold, rainy day before I wake up. So I can tell you that, oh my God, I'm going to have stomach cramps and diarrhea just because of the environmental conditions. But so we've known for quite some time, and I love Dr. Rao and Dr. T and Dr. Lou's thoughts on this. I'm not a doctor, I'm not a researcher, but we know that people with autism have a very distinct gut microbiome profile in terms of their gut microbiome. And it was once thought that perhaps that's a marker or an indicator of autism. But I'm personally of the opinion that, we're increasingly finding that neurological and emotional disorders, I don't mean to say this is a disorder, but neurological conditions we're increasingly finding are caused by gut dysbiosis, whether it's Parkinson's, epilepsy, and potentially autism. And so it's more an issue of, I like to classify it that, to me, autism is a gastrointestinal dysbiosis, and autism is one of the symptoms or side effects, to me, of this gut dysbiosis. So I love Dr. Rao, Dr. T, and Dr. Lou's thoughts on this. But very quickly, in terms of what Theon and blessings on you for being such a good mom to your kids. So I'm not going to advise what to do, but I will say by example what my sister does, because sadly my cousin is fairly low functioning autistic. He's barely verbal, even at the age of 20. You talked about dairy. When they went on elimination diets, to find out what foods really improved his condition by removing them. In his case, removing dairy, removing gluten made huge difference. If he ingests gluten, he has almost instantly behavioral issues. And in terms of sleep and so forth, one thing I'll say, and I'm not suggesting people do this, I'm not advocating, but this was simply my sister's experience. In the state where they lived, they are able to use medical cannabis or marijuana. And at least in my sister and cousin's nephew's case, it has been a complete game changer in terms of his mood, his emotional stability. So I will just leave it there in terms of what our experience was with that. I'm Lenny, and I'm done speaking.
I'll probably have to re-listen to this room again because it cut out, so I was able to catch the things that you said at the end only.
So sorry to hear that, and also too, in addition to the replays, hopefully it wasn't me cutting out. I'd be happy to connect with you offline if that would be helpful too, outside of this room.
Yes, and I did cut those things out. Sometimes, but when he goes to school, like I say, he may eat something different. But I just noticed it started getting worse with his age, and he actually is high functioning autism.
Wonderful, wonderful. It sounds like you have a very good understanding of your child, and that's really crucial. But most of all, you have to make the school understand your child's need as well. Your school, his school, has to respect his diet needs, and that's really important that you make sure his school understand that, and not allow him to share treats that might trigger his behavior, that is beyond his control. And very often people blame a child's behavior because of their disability, and that is really unfair. Because they cannot control themselves when their body is not processing the food that it doesn't recognize properly. So these are the things that you really need to stand up for your child. And if the school is still not listening, like what's happening with my son's school as well, I had to make his school lunch myself. I have stopped the school from giving him food. Please do not feed my child. I have begged them many times. Stop feeding my child, and don't let him eat treats that you when you have birthday parties, etc., because you're making him ill, and he comes home with a swollen belly. So I knew every time he comes home with a swollen belly, I knew he must have eaten something that disagrees with him at school. And that's a huge problem when school doesn't understand autism and they don't respect it. And that is a huge, and it is a special needs school for children with autism, might I add. That's how bad it is. Even for special needs school, they are not respecting the children. So this is something that we all have to work very hard to fight for them. So yes, Grandma Sherry, you wanted to say something? Did you unmute?
I did. I just want to thank you so much for bringing this up, because I happen to have one of my grandchildren in the hospital now. We do have celiacs on top of autism, but this child has been going to school in friends' houses because he's 17 and he's doing so well. And in sports, setting world records. He's gone from a child who could not communicate and putting people in the hospital busting teeth at 5 to actually being able to set world records in weightlifting now. And he's doing so well. And then he decided that he didn't have to follow the diet. Mm-hmm. And after 3 months of not really following the diet and doing what he wants, he's now in the hospital with internal bleeding. And we couldn't figure out what was wrong with him and his moods, and he just couldn't finish anything. He just was so off and couldn't figure out what was going on. So we got him counseling, thinking that was what was wrong. So I find it very interesting at this point that we're, literally touch and go right here because the internal bleeding he's having, and he's had 2 transfusions already since yesterday. So this is very, very serious. And I hope that people will really, really listen. So I so much appreciate you being here.
So bless you. What's happening to your grandson is also, I think Dr. Rao would be able to chime in on this one. Is also that he has a leaky gut. It sounds like he also has a leaky gut that might trigger certain other symptoms. And if he's having internal bleeding, that's very, very serious. It means he's been suffering for a while and he has not said anything. And a lot of children with autism also has a very high tolerance for pain. And they are unable to, because they are unable to express themselves, nobody is able to help them until the symptoms are a lot more obvious. And that's what's happening to my 14-year-old. He's so thin right now, even though he eats 4 meals a day. But when he's at school, whenever he's at school, he comes home ill. So we're now in the middle of half-term holidays. So it takes me always sometimes about 1 week to nurse him back to health, and then 2 days after he goes to school, we'll be back to square one. He'll be ill again. So I know immediately that the school is not listening. They're not listening, and they don't respect the children's needs. And this is something that we have to keep fighting for. And so I hope that you will be able to put your foot down with your child's needs, and make sure that he to read the labels when you buy any form of particularly processed food. So when it comes to nutrition, if you feel that he's not eating enough, you must also double check the oxalate levels of the food that he takes. You can, if he likes vegetables and fruits, then you are very, very blessed, because there's a lot of good vegetables and fruits that can offer very good nutrition. So you can just make vegetable pies. You can make you can hide a lot of vegetables in bread, homemade breads that's easily made with bread making machine. I've got one, and if you look into my Instagram, I've posted some recipes and some examples of how to hide nutrition into foods for children with special needs. Trayvon, I hope that helps, and I'm going to give you a follow back so that we can connect further. And please feel free to send me messages on my Instagram if you need to reach out. And let's keep each other. Keep in touch, and please follow the club so that whenever we open rooms, you'll be given a free notification, and you can participate in all activities under the club. If there is a topic that anyone feels that you want to raise, is close to your heart, please send me a text message on my Instagram as well, and we'll schedule a room based on the topic that speaks to you, and so that because if you want to know about it, many others would as well. We are part of a community. We listen to our community. We open rooms based on needs. So it's very much like this. That's how this community works. So we want to. Did we address all your questions, Tion? I want to pronounce your name right. Is it Tion? Tion maybe is perhaps away from her phone. If you're speaking, you're muted. Okay, maybe we'll get back to her in a bit. She did have, I can hear the background noise of a baby, so she might be putting the children to a snack or something like that, wherever she's at. So my little one has gone to bed by himself. Bless him. So I'm gonna move the mic to the next speaker. Let's welcome. Yes, Dr. Rao.
I was going to address this gut health, which is really gaining a lot of awareness lately in the last few decades here. But, if you look at the immediate past of the United States, it was meat and potatoes, and then there was a tremendous amount of constipation prevalent in this land for decades, I believe, So this is a good sign. And also research-wise, we have more on the microbiome now, As you know, I always look at the modern science and also ancient practices, right? And they had what's called virochana. That means in Sanskrit, having this soft, very easy bowel movement. They placed it such an important thing. There was an article I kind of dig it out, fortunately, and they were talking about some 8 signs that your immune system is good. And topping the list is this easy bowel movement. Even now there are some retreats. So what they do is they have panchakarma. That means 5 detox things that you can do to your body. One of them is this, colonic, elimination with mild cathartics and all that. But they don't have to do cathartic. See, just by composition with fruits and vegetables and milk products, sometimes the curds, yogurts, and all that they work. In our Indian diet, always finish the diet with yogurt, right? Even this afternoon, I had that like that. That was standard. We didn't know what was the benefit of that. But when the first we came up with the probiotics in the last 10 years or so, I was the only doctor who has no problem prescribing probiotics or giving them yogurt and all that. The nutritionist always came to me asking for recommendation of that to other doctors too. But because I had seen that in our patient population in the other cultures, they don't have this constipation that much. Of course, walking a little bit and water, all those things are important too. But this microbiome, gut health, like Lenny was talking about, between gut health and the mind and the clarity, that was very evident because the patients who had gone to these retreats, who had this panchakarmas done, one of them was this elimination of all the things from the colon, and they reported real increase in their alertness, awareness, and all of that. So there's much to come with the microbiome. Other fact is 70% of our gut, our body has 70% commensal bacteria. And we are kind of interfering with it because our animals are fed a lot of antibiotics because the circumstances they have, they won't be able to survive without the antibiotics. So they're giving them too many antibiotics, and that in return is influencing our biome and then microbiome, and we are gaining the antibiotic resistance to a lot of, and then we have producing superbugs because of that. So all these things are being studied and being accepted more and more by the medical community. And then if you can have those detox things to the body once in a while, it's much better. And also don't allow the toxins to accumulate by just having sessions like this. People can exchange information and be educated about it, and then really prevent a lot of things that way. Thank you.
May I add one point on that Dr. Rao mentioned about the GI? It's very interesting.
Go ahead.
Thank you. And when the GI microbe or the bacteria or fungus or viruses that are important for synthesis of many breakdown of carbohydrate, vitamin synthesis, when there is imbalance of this microbe, we call it dysbiosis, which is highly associated with inflammatory bowel disease, irritable bowel syndrome, obesity, diabetes, and many mental health disorders. So the GI is the entry point of the internal universe of human being.
Beautiful, beautiful share, both from Dr. Rao and Dr. T. Does anyone want to add on, or do you have a question? Please flash your mic. Don't be shy. Otherwise, we're going to move to, yes, Kendra.
Hi, thank you for hosting this room.
Welcome. I didn't know that you're already on stage. Please feel free. The mic is yours. Do give a quick intro of yourself.
I'm Kendra, autism mom extraordinaire, and I have twin girls that are on the autism spectrum. And I just wanted to share, when they were younger, I took them to a nutritionist. Now, going to a nutritionist, the medical is not going to pay. The insurance you have does not pay. It's a specialty here in the United States. I did not have the money at the time, but I saved up for one of them to go because I knew the concept. If I could get one, if I could learn for one, I will transfer it over to the second one, of course. And when I went to the nutritionist, she told me, I was giving her all the symptoms, XYZ. And she simply said, I'm going to heal your children through nutrition. And I was shocked because I didn't know anything about the gut and brain connection. So I was open, I listened, I studied, I did what she advised me to do, and I continued to do it to some degree, especially with supplements. And I just wanted to share that when we as the autistic community can learn things early on in the journey, then our children can have better outcomes. I think my girls were 4 or 5 when I learned about the gut and brain connection. That's my share, and thank you.
Hey, Lady Jules, this is Dr. Teresa. If I might add a couple of things. So I'm coming from the educational perspective at this time. And oh my goodness, I'm so grateful for you, Kendra, for speaking that out. It brought to mind a couple of things. When your child is in a school system, if most of the special ed teachers, special ed coordinators, the people that are on that IEP team do not understand autism. They don't understand it to the level that you do. And so when you go to these meetings or you go in to advocate for the child, just as Lady Jules has tried to do so many times, and I'm not familiar with the system in UK, but I am already beginning my research on that. You have to stand up. You have to stand up to these people and educate them. And one of the things that you can do as part of the IEP is request there's a place on the IEP that says, are there any other services or supports for school personnel? Advocate for training in the area of nutrition for your child so that the people that are surrounding your child on a daily basis in the school setting understand the importance of nutrition for your child and the effects that nutrition has, so that when they've given them a treat or a token of candy or something for a reward, and they in their minds are thinking, well, it's just, every child likes candy or every child likes this, we're going to give it to them. Even though you've told them not to, they don't understand how detrimental that is. And then a child presents with some behaviors, and then all of a sudden it's a behavioral issue as opposed to a nutritional issue. So I just wanted to add, please, when you go to these meetings and you talk to these people, make sure the nurse is in there, the principal is in there, the general ed teachers, the special ed teachers are in there to understand the importance of when you say no, you mean no, and there's a reason behind it. And that you're willing to go in and provide the training necessary for those school personnel to be able to understand if they go against your wishes, what is going to manifest in that child's life on that campus if they don't fulfill your wishes and your demands. So that's I'm Dr. Teresa, and I will pass the mic.
Can I add real quick, Dr. Teresa, thank you. At that particular time, the school listened to me, and I was able to give the school their special diet, and they served their lunch differently than the other children, and it went for years. And I believe, and I know in my heart, that helped them on their trajectory of being able to function independently and be self-sufficient as they are today. Thank you. I yield the mic.
Beautiful, beautiful shares. Thank you so much. So this is Lady Jules. I want to acknowledge also Linda in the audience and Will. Please feel free to come up on stage if you like. So ladies and gentlemen, I think the room is still not quite visible. In the hallway, I have tried looking and I can't find our room in the hallway. So please do share the room out and ping as many friends as possible for this room to be visible. Small rooms are usually not visible in the hallway, so nobody will be able to listen in, which is a real shame. So please do ping people in. I want to introduce to you Triple J. If you are available now to share a little bit about your journey with food and nutrition, that would be amazing. Are you available yet, Triple J?
Give me just a minute.
All right, thank you so much.
I actually shared earlier when nobody was here.
Oh,
when you left to shut down the other room. But give me just a few minutes and I'll be back. I'll be ready.
Okay. Thank you so much. So, so for those of you who do not know Triple J, please do take a look at his bio, and you'll be surprised to see what he's gone through, and he's a true fighter. I hope you'll be able to listen into the replays as well. And let's wait for him to come back and share a little bit more about his journey with food. And who else would like to share? If you have a question or a share on today's topic, please feel free. We have quite a few doctors in the house, but they are doctorate in different topics, except for Dr. Rao. Dr. Rao has done extensive research in this topic, and he's the one who came up with this topic. So please feel free to ask any questions while he's still here to answer them. The room is open, popcorn style, don't be shy. Don't you all raise the mic at once.
One of the things I want to say, Lady Jules, because this is an appropriate room, I think the more health conscious we become, of course, the mothers will be attending to the children the most, that's a very good thing all the time. It happens all the time anyway. But apart from them, the teenagers don't properly eat and don't take responsibility. They're influenced by the food industry, bigger, alcohol you can eat and bigger sodas and all that, right? On one hand, our health community between the doctors, nurses, and health coaches and also nutritionists, we're trying to make them eat right? But then there's so much competition from the food industry, our restaurants and all that. They just want to sell them tasty foods that may not be good for us, and then they get used to that, like the McDonald's, for example. And all the restaurants are clean and nice, but the nutrition value is very, very low. And we know that the processed food now is the cause for the chronic diseases we have. And the chronic diseases don't have good outcomes. That's the problem with our modern system. It's not what is happening in the hospital. We kind of treat the acute diseases, but at home, at school, in the society, what's happening, in the food industry and all that. I was in Minnesota at the International Diabetic Center. I go there once in a while just to see the research and all that. And one professor really showed the mechanics, all the numbers between what is happening with the restaurants advertisement. And their thing is just to promote food that is not really good, but tasty. They slip it in. The label reading and all that came just a few decades ago, 2 or 3 decades. Before that, there was no labeling, nothing. Everything was going. But the thing is, even with all that consciousness of the ingredients that you're eating, many people are still succumbing to the taste and succumbing really the problem. That's why health consciousness, in terms of one of the pillars of wellness, is the food, first one. Okay, if you don't have the consciousness about that, then you'll eat whatever it is, and then what is happening inside will show up later. So being health conscious in this aspect, very, very important. Thank you.
If I can quickly add on to what Dr. Rao said, but let me back into it. I think he said earlier, he talked about how he enjoyed yogurt, which is a big part of the culture in India, and which is true. Fantastic to have fermented foods of any type with your gut microbiome, but please don't grab like a Dannon at the grocery store. It's mostly sugar. Mm-hmm. Get yourself a high quality, preferably unsweetened yogurt, or even better, get kefir, which is much more beneficial. So yogurt, yes, but be careful with yogurts. But what he was talking about in terms of processed foods, let me quickly say, one of the best books I can recommend is a book called Hooked by Michael Moss, and I'll put it into the chat. But he talks about it. I'm in Minneapolis also, Dr. Ross. Sorry we didn't cross paths here, but we're home in Minneapolis to General Mills, Pillsbury. The processed foods, they don't just make it tasty. They don't have chefs. They have food scientists whose goal is to not just make it tasty, but make you crave the food so that your body, with the combination, they dial the right combinations of sugar, fats, salt. Think of like snack foods, like a Doritos. So they want you to actually crave the food and consume it as often as possible and as much as possible. So when you go grocery shopping, shop the outer aisles of the store, the produce aisles, the fish and fresh meat aisles. Stay away from the inside of the store and the processed foods. And I emphasize, this is especially important for those of us on the autism spectrum. I'm Lenny, and I'm done speaking.
Bravo, bravo. Thank you so much. Blessings, Lenny. That's so, so crucial. You've just mentioned that, particularly on the issue of food addiction, they deliberately add soy lecithin or dairy into the processed food. Why do they do that? Because they're extremely addictive. Particularly dairy products. It's even when it says non-lactose or no lactose, it does not mean it's okay that it's made from cow's milk. The problem isn't just the lactose, unfortunately. It is the L-casein that's in the cow's milk that is most addictive, and that's why people are addicted to cheese products, and they can't stop eating. And I have a friend who struggled with weight loss for a long time, and she has been unable to stop eating cheese. Unfortunately, it's she works out for hours and hours, and she'll starve herself, and she'll do all sorts of fat diets. But the one thing that she couldn't stop is wine and cheese. That's part of her lifestyle for a long time, and so she said, it's her number one problem is unable to stop both. I said, well, there you have it. There's so much L-casein in the milk products, particularly cheese, that's so addictive and so harmful for your blood vessels. So removing dairy, even non-lactose products, as long as there's cow's milk in it, it contains L-casein. So that's something to look out for. Otherwise, it's kind of you won't make any progress, even though you eat products with low lactose or no lactose. It doesn't make a difference. You are still putting in L-casein into your system. So I hope that helps. And is there anyone else who would like to chime in? Yes, Lenny.
I promise I'll make this super fast. But yes, sheep's milk, goat's milk don't have those issues, so that's recommended. But I forgot to mention in terms of processed foods, oh my goodness, the artificial colors, the artificial flavorings, the preservatives, all of those things such an important issue, not just for those of us on the spectrum, but any behavioral issues, hyperactivity, ADHD, they all contribute to that. So eat fresh foods, avoid the processed foods, particularly important when it comes to autism. I'm Lenny and I'm done speaking.
Yeah, that is biological conditioning that we talk about. We are not aware of it, but then we get used to the tasty things, and then it is very difficult. I remember back in 90s, there was a study done by NIH on obesity people. The most difficult thing that they encountered was this taste mechanism that they could not break through. Everything else was okay. Even now, that continues a lot. If you turn to the Ayurveda, they talked about what's called Prakruti. That means nature. According to our natural constitution that we are born with, then it goes into what's called Vikruti. That's kind of dismantled and then changed by these conditioning factors we are talking about here. And their job is to get you back from Vikruti to Prakruti. That means what is deranged, and then get back to your natural constitution that you have that has these bioenergies. Once you have these, this is more like what they call dinacharya, daily routines. One of them is the food, right? So they adjust them. They don't give any medications as such, but the way you think, the way we react, the way you choose foods, the way you have the activity, the way you calm your mind, all those things they address. And lots of times people are switched back to their fundamental constitution that they are born with, which is their nature. So that is where we are going back when we are exploring this gene connection with the nutrition, which we are talking about now. Thank you.
I am ready now, ladies and gentlemen.
Yay! Please go ahead, give a quick intro of yourself and share with us your journey with food.
I feel weird sharing this.
Jay?
I'm doing fine. I feel weird sharing this for the second time, but it's okay. I think most of the people in here maybe didn't hear it, but hey, Lenny, that's one of my good friends right there. That is my buddy right there. Let's see. I'm like most people, just regular guy, that got raised to eat, whatever, what I'm saying, when it comes to the standard American diet, what I'm saying? I think back in the 70s and 80s, it was just, people were just feeding their kids whatever, what I'm saying? And just, the different carbs and sugars, cereals, and breads and all kinds of pastas and just different stuff and sweets and candies and all that. I grew up eating like that for a long time, and through high school and even through adulthood continued the same pattern of eating, because that's how I was raised, to eat that old home cooking Southern food type. I'm from Alabama, y'all, if you did not know. So in the South, man, we eat very recklessly down here. So I went on that path, even as an adult, and I think everything came to a head for me. I think when I was married for 9 years, and I got a divorce, and it really mentally broke me. And so I tried to pacify the loss of my family and that pain. I tried to pacify it with just food, ice cream, cookies, pizzas, all kinds of stuff, right? Eating like really recklessly, eating a whole package of Oreo cookies at one time, eating a whole pizza in one setting, eating family-sized bags of potato chips, anything to try to give me a temporary satisfaction for my pain, And so that went on for a couple of years, and then I was diagnosed in 2010 with type 2 diabetes. And I was like, no, that can't be me, can't be me. Oh, no, not Triple J. Triple J doesn't have type 2 diabetes, but yes, I did. I was in denial about it, went deeper into depression, and kept a cycle of self-destructive behavior going, you know. I kept abusing myself with foods, thinking that that was going to bring me comfort, and it never did. And so that went on for 11 years. My diabetes was terrible through those years. It grew worse and worse as the years went on. I remember I had A1Cs of 10, 11, 12, 13, and 14, unreadable past 14 a lot of times. Blood sugars of 3 and 4 and 500 at times when I did check it. You know, it was pretty bad. But in 2021, I was laying on my bed on a Saturday morning, and I was just tired of everything. You know, I had been through a lot, mentally, emotionally, a broken man, and I was just tired, you know. And I don't want to weird anybody out, but as far as this is pretty true, you know, I was pretty much complaining on my bed about, you know, this isn't right. You know, I tried to be the good father, tried to be the good family man, and this is the thanks I get, you know, for trying to be the good guy. And then I started blaming God about, you know, I got saved and got in church in 1998 and served you all these years, and this is the thanks I get. Diabetes, really? Divorce, you know? This is what I get? This is my reward, really? And I went into that pity party, you know, that day. And God spoke to me that day and said, how much longer are you going to lay there and kill yourself? And I really just shook myself and woke out of that trance, because ultimately I had did all this to myself. I was the going and eating all of these foods, French fries, and burgers from McDonald's. McDonald's, I don't know. Maybe they put cocaine in their fries. I don't know. But I'm just telling you, I stayed in there. I should have a stock of McDonald's. You know, just eating all this stuff for years and years and years. I did it to myself. And it was time for me to make a decision. So that morning, I decided that I wanted to change. And so I was able to talk to one of my friends that was doing something called keto, and I really didn't know what it was about. I actually seen them on Facebook and doing it. And so I asked the lady, you know, I knew her for some years, I said, hey, can you help me? I see you lost a lot of weight. Can you help me? She said, sure. And so that day I started on my journey with food. I changed my plate that day, that same day, went to the store, got the foods, went home, cooked the whole foods. I started my journey that day. And that same day, I got this wonderful app called Clubhouse, because I was told that this would be a place for inspiration and motivation in my journey, and it was. And my keto community really has helped me to change, you know what I'm saying, as a person. So the Triple J that you see stands before you now. It has to thank all of its wonderful community. It has to thank, you know, the ketogenic lifestyle, you know, as well. I'm not here to promote any kind of way of eating. Whatever way you find that works for your body, because everybody's body is different. So we're not going to have that fight about what to eat. But what we will say is when you find a thing that's healthy for you, and it does serve you, and it does work for you, then you stick with that. And that's what I did. I stuck with it for 6 months. And my A1C, December of 2020 was a 12. And so I went back to the doctor July 30th, 2021. And my A1C went from a 12 all the way to a 5.5. And it was an amazing thing that day, because I never thought eating the proper foods could reduce my blood sugar, could reduce my A1C. I had no idea, you know. But 6 more months after that, because people say, oh, you're just doing something, blah, blah, blah. It ain't going to last. But I decided to do a lifestyle change. This was not a diet for me. I needed to change my life and change my way of eating. And that's what I did. And 6 more months after that, my A1C was a 5.2. My doctors were so proud of me. My diabetic doctor was so proud of me. They took me off all my medicine. And I was on 7 medicines. One of those was an injection. And I was able to come off all my medicine. And I am here a year later from that date, still here, still diabetes free. At my heaviest, I was 380. I think I'm 280 today. So that's a lot of weight I've lost, and I got some more that I want to lose as well. But it's not about the weight; it's about me as a person changing. When I tell y'all to be able to get your life back, to be able to get confidence, to be able to look at yourself in the mirror and love yourself, a lot of people don't talk about the mental part when it comes to food. We talk about the food, but we ain't talking about the different emotional traumas and different things we've gone through that are connected to emotional and stress eating. You have to face the source of your pain. You have got to face it square in the eye. You've got to. And when you start to do that, you can begin to heal. Then that food won't have power over you anymore. Listen, I've said enough. I'm so thankful to be here, Lady Jules. It was such a great honor to be able to share just a little bit. And that is from your reigning, defending, undisputed heavyweight champion of the world. And I, Triple J, am done speaking.
I was wondering if I could say something actually quick to back him up. For you to go keto, I'm telling you, issues with my. Is it just me? I can't hear Alisa. Hello? Can anyone hear me?
I can hear her.
Keto and intermittent fasting I have to do right now because of something that's going on, autoimmune, and I'm just force feeding myself. So if I'm chewing, I'm sorry. It's because change seriously. Do that intermittent fasting, and if you want to know what that is, it's many people will say different things, but there's there's ways to do it. There's ways to increase it.
She's not good.
I know she keeps breaking up.
Yeah, so it's just me. Thank God.
No, I thought at first I didn't pay my phone bill for a second. I said everything went dead. That's what was going on.
I kept breaking up when you were just breaking up. How about now? Now it's all right, but maybe I won't move. It's where there's spots that are like inches from each other. I have to stand. Anyways, you're gone again. Oh, we can't hear you now. Like literally, I just literally just leaned to my movie. Try jumping out and jumping back in. Okay, I'll try that too. Yes.
Hey, Lady Jules, and I will say she said something, and I forgot a part of my story as well. Oh, I did change the way that I was eating. Yes, about fasting. I actually. Okay, you're excited. All right. So what happened is my first month, I just got down packed the eating part. I was trying to be consistent on cooking my foods, meal prepping, just doing that first. I got that down packed. In my second month, I went into fasting. And so I started doing like 6 to 12, 6 to 2. Then I started going 6 to 6. And then ultimately I did a 24-hour fast. Then I went into doing 48-hour fast, even to the extent of 72 and beyond. And I have my coach to thank me for that too, to thank her for that as well, because she helped me with the fasting. The fasting helped me so much with inflammation. I'm not going to lie to you. I had a lot of inflammation in my body, and the fasting helped me get the inflammation going. It helps me with my blood sugar. It helps me with mental clarity. Man, if you guys ever got to a 72-hour fast in the realm of the 72 hours, I'm telling you, it is amazing. I'm not here to tell you to fast, but I will tell you I have. And as you can see, as you look at my picture, the left side and the right side of that picture of the guy in the work clothes, you can see that I dramatically changed. And so fasting is a game changer. It actually helped me burn a lot of weight. I mean, I think when I started keto, I think I might have been maybe 350. And so I'm like 280 now, but the thing is that the fasting was a game changer for me. It was almost like a lever. Combined with eating right, the fasting is something. And fasting has a lot of great properties as far as healing your body as well. You know what I'm saying? It really does. Different pains and aches that I used to have, I don't have them no more. I feel great when I'm incorporating regular fasts. You know what I'm saying? Like I've been doing this week OMAD, which is I'll eat one meal a day. So I'll eat in the morning and eat a really nice good meal, and then I won't eat again until the next morning. You know what I'm saying? At the same time. So I'm telling you, the fasting is a game changer.
Hello? Can anyone hear me? Hello?
There
Hello?
you go. There you go.
Okay. Yeah, and also to add to what he was saying, why you need the intermittent fasting to detoxify and heal your body is because your liver is it just like the rest of your body needs to heal itself and regenerate, just like your brain, your muscles, everything. Your liver enzymes in there have to rest, and they go by not necessarily your circadian rhythm, which they do have, but they go by light darkness of the sun outside. You can look this up. I'm a dork. I just read a lot about this stuff, and that's why you see a lot of night shift workers are heavier because your liver wants to go to sleep. The working stuff in there. So the intermittent fasting, I would definitely check with your doctor if you have any sort of ailments first, and then start slowly with like I always just start with stop at 8 p.m. and then I'll start again at 10 a.m. in the morning, and then if I feel good and can go further, then I'll push it another hour. Either one way or the other, like stop at 7 p.m. and then start up. But anyways, you can actually gain muscle when you do intermittent fasting this way. And because your muscles are just naturally healing from walking, and you actually gain VO2 max, your cardiovascular ability when you can when you do a 16-hour intermittent fasting, when you meet that time, which is pretty cool. I don't do it for that reasons, but I'm just doing it for detox reasons. And yeah, I have to eat a lot right now because of that. But I wanted to say that the brain and gut. Okay, so if the brain is in a constant state, if it's not at rest, the CNS is two parts, the parasympathetic, the one that we can't control. That's always the fight or flight's always in a stressful situation, or the brain is just triggered by something, exhausted, or that'll be something that comes from it. But if it's in a constant state of not being taken care of, so it's always in that your vagus nerve is not toned, they call it. It's always like all over the place, and you can't calm down, you can't sleep at night normally. Your gut, it's automatically going to affect your gut, and most people will have some sort of gut issue, digestion issues, IBS. One of they'll get Crohn's disease, which isn't even a true autoimmune disease. There's IBS, not IBD, but IBS, digestion issues. Like I don't get an appetite because of this thing that happened to me. And so
another thing is 90% of your neurotransmitters they're functioning in your gut. So you have to feed it right and care for it from your brain, which is very sensitive. It's like on a teeter-totter almost, that just something can tip it to make you stressed if you're living in a non state of feeling safe, in quotation marks. Like you could be safe, but your body doesn't feel it. So what I'm trying to say is, in your gut, it's not going to function at all if you're feeding it sugar. The sugar's going to feed the bad bacteria, which on my own personal journey, when I was like 17, 18, and I was rowing at Penn State, and we had a nutritionist who, Lance Armstrong's nutritionist was the D1, we were D1 school. So we had her, and naturally I stopped eating refined sugar so much. It just came out of my diet naturally. And I stopped having to get allergy shots. I didn't get bronchitis twice a year anymore. And I haven't since my asthma went away. So that's just like an evidence. And then I remember years later, I wanted to have a piece of birthday cake with my sister. And I took a bite, and I got these little hives, and it swelled up on the top of roof of my mouth. And I made myself allergic to sugar. And from then on, I would tell people, I'm allergic to sugar, I can't have that, and like I don't even eat sauces. I'm very boring to go out to eat with, but I like it, I'm used to it. And anyways, but believe it or not, even doctors, friends of mine, when I wasn't in the medical industry, they would be like, there's no such thing as sugar allergy. And three years ago, maybe, officially is now a refined sugar allergy. If you do the research, look up on PubMed or NHS, you can find that. So I don't know. I just wanted to throw that in. I don't know if I can't remember. Yeah, just trying to do stuff. So yeah.
One thing about the fasting is there are variety of fastings that different people do. That's fine. But what I want to bring to the discussion is, how can you incorporate fasting on a daily basis? Simply wait till you have a very, very good appetite. Don't eat it according to the time, but give the body to tell you, yeah, this is the time that I want to eat. So this is like the yoga science teach about real yogis who are doing, they call ekabhukta. That means they have only one meal in 24 hours, whereas the householder, they recommend twice a day, But, if you are doing modern meals, heavy breakfast, good breakfast, everything included is recommended. And then presumably you will be walking and you'll be working all day. And then light lunch, and that's also when you have a good appetite, and very light dinner 2 hours before you sleep, And also when you eat, if you sit down and chew the food slowly, that's very good too. This very good appetite development is very important, because all your juices will flow better, and then your chyme, that is the whatever you have made in the stomach, that is what we call chyme, that is breaks down much faster, and the metabolites are absorbed better, and you will also digest them better. That's why eat after you work up a good appetite. That's a very simple way of incorporating fasting into this. And then people like obesity, people like different conditions can do different variety of fasting under supervision of medical supervision. And then there are people who do fasting according to the religious practices, and sometimes they develop problems after that. So I always advise people just incorporate fasting in your daily life. I myself, I don't eat just habitually. I eat only when I'm very, very hungry. That practice itself keeps me the same weight, 150. I've been for 20 years maybe now, So just incorporate fasting into your daily life, and it is very important for the liver detoxification too. So that's a very important thing also.
Yeah, it really is. I actually, when I, in church, we always had the spiritual fast, and so by the time I got to keto and they were telling me about fasting, I wasn't a stranger to it. So I had a lot of practice, I'll say, before I actually incorporated fasting into like dietary, whatever. But I did notice that I was able to keep more weight off when I was a young man in church. We used to do at least 2 fasts a month at least. And so I started putting that together and I said, oh man, okay, so maybe I need to go back to that. That combined with eating healthy really works. Like I said, I'm doing Old Man right now. And sometimes I understand what MMGG is saying, because I actually sometimes will not eat just to be eating. I might not be hungry, and so I just push it. Sometimes I don't eat first thing in the morning, like maybe 9 or 10 o'clock, or even 2 before I eat. So, that really helps. I'm telling you, you don't have to eat because it's morning time or lunchtime or dinner time. He's right. You need to eat when you're hungry and eat then,
May I pop in? Can you guys hear me?
Yes, sir. We can hear you.
Thank you. So I love the area, and Triple J, congratulations on the journey of achieving weight loss. So I'm gonna go through my experience, and when I have a patient with, my weight is around 152, but I see patients who struggle with weight, and I say to myself, the approach in medical practice we use is not working. One day I just get angry on myself. I say, what the heck am I doing? If I'm not able to make a patient to lose weight, why the patient is asking, what am I doing? I must be insane. I blame myself. Then I start to write. I say to myself, I'm going to start a protocol algorithm from scratch, from zero. I'm going to forget all the medical approach until now. I'm going to bring something new. Then I sit down. I grab a pen. I say, Albert Einstein says, insanity is doing over and over again, expect different result. Then I say to myself, I must be insane because I'm doing the same thing. I tell patients, do diet, do exercise, do diet, do exercise, and no one is losing. Everyone doctor is doing the same. This is insane. Then I said, iOS. My mind should be insane operating system. Then I said, let me change this. Okay, I'm going to approach it in a different way. So I start a journey of new approach. Now, the first time I asked is, the patient was 450. And I told him, we are not going to be insane again. We're going to do something different. Let's go. All right. Now, he said, Doc, I am not eating. He said, I wrote it, but I am not losing weight, but I'm gaining. Okay. That opened my awareness. Boom. When you are looking something, it is given to you. When you apply looking energy. And I was laughing. I laughed. What did he say? I wrote it. Doc, I am not eating, but I'm not losing weight. I'm not losing at all. Ooh, wow. I love it. Now I say, very good. Okay, let's go to physics. Then I change everything to physics. In physics, mass never created nor destroyed. it is transferred or transformed. All right. Then I ask, if you are 400. No, first I tell him, let me give you a case scenario. Because this intrigued my concept completely of the insanity I'm doing over and over, no result. I give him a case. Let's say your friend, his name is Jay. You see him, he has no wish to do the job. Number one, no wish. Number two, he doesn't want to go to work, but he go into the job. But he doesn't get paid. What do you tell to Jay? He said, what? Number one, he is not doing against his wish or will. Number two, he go to work and he is not get paid. What do you say to him? He said, I asked him, why are you doing this? No. Before I ask him, do you know what he's doing? Are you aware of what he's doing? He said, let's ask him. Yeah. And he said, yes. Well, the next question you're going to ask him, are you aware of it? And Jay says, yes. And then you're going to tell him, why are you doing this? Jay says, I don't know. Holy, I don't know. Now, let's go. He said, I don't know. He is doing against his wish, against his will. Criteria number one. Number two, he doesn't get paid. By this criteria, is Jay a good person to himself or he is insane? He said he is insane. Why? Two things is happening. Number one, he is doing against his wish or will. Number two, he doesn't get paid for the hour he's working. Number three, he's going and spending the time. Okay? Now let's go to something else. Now, your weight is 450. We ask, where does the weight come from? He said, I don't know, but he told me you don't eat. Then I told him, okay, I know where it came from. I think it came from air. He said, no, Doc, it can't be. Why? Because you are breathing the same air. All right. So why you tell me you don't eat? So what happened is the mind is the key. What the mind is telling him is as if he is not eating. Then I document this one. What I'm trying to look is the algorithm of obesity, how it happened in one's life. So it has a cascade of algorithms, like an architect. C1, C2, C3 give you this result. So obesity is happening in human by an algorithm. That algorithm starts from the mind. The mind says to everyone, I don't think you really eat it. If the mind believes it, the person believes it and saying it. Then when I go to physics, mass never created nor destroyed. Where did this mass come from? He couldn't answer it. Then he said, okay, I think it must be from food. Okay, now let's apply the two principles we apply to Jay. Now, number one, you are gaining weight without your wish. Yes. One criteria fulfilled. Number two, you are gaining the weight by going to grocery, buying the food, and load it to this body. That means you are losing money, not get paid. Number three, you are getting obese. You are destroying your joint, diabetes, high blood pressure, 3. Now I ask him, who is more insane? He said, me. Why? Number one, I'm doing against my wish. I don't want to gain weight, but I'm gaining. Number two, I'm paying money to be obese. Number three, I'm bringing a lot of medical problems. Then I said to him, did you see what the key is? The IOS, the mind, is the key. Because all obese became obese without their will or wish. But underneath in the brain, there is an algorithm. What kind of algorithm? Without knowing, they could have what I call it food addiction without knowing it. And then he said, oh my God, he never knew that. Then he opened his understanding. Now let me give you to the opposite extreme. One is 86 pounds, bone and skin, malnourished. Why are you not gaining weight? And she said, Dad, can you believe it? I'm eating a lot. Look, the algorithm of malnutrition in the mind tells you are eating a lot. Then I say, okay, physics says mass transfer is not created nor destroyed. Where did it go? She said, I can't believe it. And then I know the iOS. It's an operating system of the mind. Okay. tell me how much did you eat in the last 24 hours? She said, half a sandwich. What insane is that? So the way we have to approach obesity is how the mind perceives, understood, aware of the way we do. The approach is opposite. So I like to simplify. Anyone who likes to lose weight, the first step is to be aware of the mind. What is the mind telling you? The mind might tell you, you are not really eating. You believe it, and it seems to. And you never measure the weight at all, because physics doesn't lie, mathematics doesn't lie. So do a favor to be loud yourself. Whatever you eat, measure it, look at it. And if you have excess weight, why do you really need to eat? If you have a lot of money in a bank, the bank told you how to spend the money. Do you bring more money or you just spend the money? It's the same algorithm. If the weight needs to be lost 100 pounds, why do you add extra weight of food? Because the mathematics doesn't lie. I love you. Thank you.
See, the modern neuroplasticity and ancient yoga science, they both describe this in a understandable way. In neuroplasticity, you can create your own brain by how you think, right? And ancient medicine called that, if you are unconsciously thinking something repeatedly, like he quoted Albert do knowingly, that's insanity. If you are doing it again and again, you know it is harmful to you. Right, these unconscious habits from not only from inside, but also from the conditioning by our family, by our society, by culture and all that, right? So whatever it is, you are thinking something unconsciously again and again that forms actually a neuronal path in your cortex, and that comes up when you don't know, and then you are eating unconsciously again, you know. And also this conditioning happens like giving a cookie whenever you are upset from the childhood, that builds up that psychological conditioning too. So how do you change this is be conscious in your thoughts and in your action, and that way you can reprogram whatever the programming was given to you by the unconscious thought. So there's a big deal in treating a lot of people with depression and also anxiety, because in depression, you are thinking something negative, reinforcing the negative, so it forms such a neural path. It's very difficult later on to come out of it, unless you are very positive or somebody really helps you with support and all that. Anxiety also, you are forecasting into the future and building. All this is mental conditioning, really comes from your ego. So if you can understand that and then really operate consciously every day, live consciously, then you can attack all these habits that you don't want them to be built up. They are built up automatically in you, and they are projecting without your interference. So that is the major problem with a lot of people. So just be conscious of it, and you are aware. I got a lot of smokers. Be conscious about their taking the cigarette out of the pocket and lighting it up, putting it in the mouth. All the series of acts they are doing unconsciously. I made them come back to the awareness of each step they're doing, and that helped them a lot to really get out of the smoking too.
So, thank you, Dr. Rao. And I didn't understand what do you mean, because by being conscious of what they're doing, leading to a situation, for example, overeating,
yeah,
or bulimia, or anorexia, or smoking. How does that help? Because being conscious does not help them. How is it linked? I don't understand
yeah.
How is it connected?
Sure. Take, for example, the smokers came to us, and then we never forced on them that you have to quit, but they were motivated to quit. and then they come. Then they were enrolled into the program, but then addressed all the difficulties they have. When I ask them, "Are you smoking? How much? Are you aware of it?" They say, "Oh no, whenever I find a cigarette, I light it up." Or some people say, like that. Some people chain smoking. Right? So what you do is each time you are taking a cigarette out of the packet and then putting in your mouth and lighting it up, be aware of each action that you are doing. And when they are doing, they are really paying attention. Hey, I'm doing something wrong to myself, which I don't want to do. That's initially why we came. And then they were able to, even if they do 2 or 3 cigarettes a day, they are not lighting it up. Then psychologically they felt, hey, I'm able to do this. It is in me, the capacity to not to light up 2 or 3 cigarettes less. Okay? So I can do that. And that psychological result built in them. And by the time I saw them in 2 weeks' time, they were able to really tell me a lot of progress on that. It's like first of all, avoid all the stimulants, the ashtrays, the other people and all that. But at the same time, if they really want to stop and take deep breaths, that also helped them. But the essential thing is how we built up the psychological result. Suppose bulimia, anorexia, they're established diseases. We will treat them properly, and then, but eventually, they will have to be guided psychologically too. So that will be the end of treatment, and so that they won't fall back into the same behavior again. So most of the time, people are driven by compulsive thoughts or unconscious thoughts. They hardly make an attempt to stop and pay attention to them because they are coming and overcoming them, and they are doing them automatically. What it is you want to make them first quiet the body, sit down one place, and then quiet the thoughts, and maybe you can have a focus of something and pay attention to that one thing. Thereby you avoid all the other stimulants, all the other thoughts. Thereby they will understand, hey, I can focus these thoughts into one or slow them down. And then as they slow them down, you can see what they are made of because you are not impulsively executing them. That's why having unconscious compulsive thoughts is not good. And that was cultivated for years. That's why people do not know what to be out of thought into awareness. Once you are in the awareness, then you control the thought. Whatever comes, you will not yield to it. But it's not easy. But first thing is, if you have a habit, be aware of the habit. Be conscious of the habit. Every time it happens, because 10, 20, 30 times in a day, they may happen. But if you are at least break through 5 times, then you will build up the reserve within. And so that's why ancient sciences talk about beyond thought, that is awareness. Modern ailment is we think only thought. We don't touch our awareness, which is a faculty for us. When you get up in the morning, first thing, you get up and you are aware of the surroundings and everything. You are aware. Into the awareness, the stream of thoughts come. But what happens usually is people give up all of that and they get into stream of thought and they are not aware at all in a movement. So that's why cultivating the awareness is very important.
If I can add to Dr. Ross says, maybe it is the same, but our approach might be different. The way I approach any kind of not helpful habit or behavior is in this way. I ask, if you are a president or a CEO of a factory, you have 2 options to have a product, an excellent product or a bad product. Then they pick an excellent product. Excellent. You don't want a bad product. Let's say the excellent product is A+. The bad product is D+. Now, if this is your choice, let's go to a different place. Now, let's say this factory is called a factory that produces thought. thinking is produced in this factory. Now, what kind of thought do you want to have in the product? Excellent. All right, let's see. Now, you are the CEO of this factory. Which one do you really are doing every day? Now the patient may say, I have anxiety. Is that a good thought or bad thought? Bad thought. Now, why do you choose a bad thought? Oh my God, you are right. I don't know why. Oh, right, you see. Now, you are smoking, right? Yes. Is it a positive or a negative? He says negative. Now let's go deep. Why are you smoking? The smoking is a result of something deep. Well, let's go to the factory of the thought. Do you think the smoking comes from a positive thought or from a negative thought? Then he said, from a negative thought. Watch. The negative thought brings another negative action, which is smoking. Does this really need it? No. They start to understand the depths. The thought become your action, your habit, your character, and your destiny. So at the core of the DNA of this algorithm is where the thought is the key. When you change the thought at the quantum level into positivity, self-loving, truth to yourself, is the key to transform all today, because life is today. That's the way I approach it, and it wows the soul, and they love it, and they transform it. I love you all.
There is a different aspect I can bring it here for you all you consider. Whenever you talk or you're thinking, is it coming from the noisy thought or the silent, serene self behind? Once you taste that silent, serene, you can have the thoughts, but without the noise, and that's an advanced meditative achievement. But unfortunately, people don't realize that. But the people who realize that, they're so self-sufficient, and they just come from that silence, and which is very invigorating. And also, this is the secret of why people who practice that kind of silence were long living, and they had a very good mechanism of biological functioning too. So highest example are the self-realized souls who are noble souls. They don't have agitation, they don't get into quick temper or irritation, any of those afflictions, right? So the corresponding to that is biologically, you don't have these hormones that are going through our system, the stress hormones. And that's why prayer or other things also work. But I'm talking about not even another thought. I'm talking about thought, and beyond the thought, that awareness which is silent, which is very silent in the sense that it is going to nurture you and around people who are agitated, for example. They get calmed down when you are very silent. This was a thing that, as a doctor, helped me a lot, because I was doing this emergency room physician job right after my residency in New York. And I used to get all these very, very severe patients in the morning. My shift was in the morning. But then the moment I came in, everybody calmed down, because I, coming from a yoga practice, meditation, where I'm really silent, calm, and nothing irritates me at that time. So I didn't say anything to anybody. But the moment I came in, everything was calm. Course went well, and we were able to function like a seamless unit, all of us. So I think there is a practical use of calming ourselves in the morning and in the evening, and also trying to be not react to things but respond to them. And that is really very healthy for us inside also.
Right. This is Lady Jules. Thank you, Dr. Rao and Dr. T. So we are coming to the end of our room. So if there's anyone who would like to add on or to share, or if you have a question, now is the time. And
sorry.
Diana, we have Diana in the house. Thank you for coming in. When did you come in? I didn't see you. Was something wrong with my phone? I was just pinging you in. And I think Leanne wanted to say something. Leanne, did you want to say something?
Yeah, just I understood like a lot of what the doctor was just explaining, because about your thoughts and manifestations and how it affects your central nervous system, and then your nervous system ends up affecting all your organs. I've suffered a lot of brain damage and a lot of organ damage. Very rare. My bloods don't match, so there's not a biochemical marker. It's really rare and complex, but everything that he was just explaining, I just wanted to say to people, honestly, it's your brain has got to be healthy, your mind's got to be healthy for your body to be healthy as well. That's just what I wanted to add. Thanks.
Beautiful affirmation. Thank you so much, Leanne. Absolutely. It's unfortunately all interlinked, and hence the term physiology. I think that's birthed directly out of this theory that everything is indeed interlinked. So even if we appear to be healthy, if our mind's not in the right place, we will eventually lead ourselves to self-sabotaging habits. Many self-sabotaging habits could be as harmless in the appearance in the beginning, as simple as eating that extra piece of chocolate, or eating the extra piece of cake, or perhaps even drinking that extra glass of red wine that's supposed to be healthy by 1 glass a day. But the little things that we do, even unconsciously, might lead to very unhealthy habits. So that's quite true. Is there anyone else who would like to add on and to ask a question? Diana, you have come in late, but fortunately for you, there is replays on, and I know you want us to talk about oxalate poisoning that we have not yet touched on. If you are keen to, if anyone's keen to hear about oxalate poisoning, please can you put a heart shape in the room chat? Put a heart in the chat so I know if you want to listen to that, and I will be happy to keep the room going, because otherwise we have come to the end of our room. I see 3 hearts, and there are 12 of us here, so we need 6 votes to keep this room going. So we need at least 6 hearts from different people. Don't cheat. 6 hearts to keep this room going. I'm a very democratic person, so majority will win. So if we have at least 6 hearts in the room
June,
chat.
can you
Yes.
forgive me? I have a meditation to attend at 7. I'm late. If you excuse me, that would be great.
Oh, thank you so much for coming in.
Yeah, I got to go too. Thank you all for listening to me.
You as well.
Yeah.
Is it the same meditation that you're going to?
No. I don't meditate periodically. I am in meditativeness all the time. So that's not it. But I get attend some things here. That's why. Thank you very much. Okay.
You're welcome.
Lady June, thank you so much. We love you. I love you.
ఇంకా తలకాయ వచ్చేస్తుంది అది ఏంటంటే ఇట్స్ కైండ్ ఆఫ్ డిఫికల్ట్ కదా